Wacha nikupe waidi ya kiwanja. Hapa,
remains of the late Right Honorable Raila Omolo Odinga landed, and we could see that the body was retrieved from the aircraft RAO 001. One thing to note, and quite impressive, is that they allowed the local Wananchis to go into the JKIA landing strip and welcome their very own Right Honorable Raila Omolo Odinga. Now, the Defense Forces was there on guard, and they welcomed the Right Honorable Raila Omolo Odinga the right way, correctly. JKIA is filled with people. Right now, I can only assume the traffic there must be heavy. But as you can see, everybody is just mourning in their own sad little way. And there's no violence, there's no chaos. They're very, very peaceful. Now, we will have a motorcade that will carry the body from JKIA and head straight which it shall be taken to Parliament for public viewing. Now, they had specified the timings for the public viewing from 2 to 5 p.m. But I don't know how long it will take for them to go to leave funeral, for Raila to be taken again to Parliament for us to start the viewing at 2 p.m. However, dignitaries are present. The plane landed safely. The President of the Republic of Kenya, His Excellency William Samoei Ruto, is present. Right along so Ida Odinga and other will lead their convoy. They will lead the convoy from should be in a state look at the tears that are falling from our very own Mama Ida Odinga, and even from the Wananchis and from the people who were there. Some of them we could see they actually have literal tears. And yesterday I announced the death of Raila on K24 on air, and I got messages from people, personal people that I know, who were extending their condolences to their family, and they were saying, we don't know where to send our condolences. So people are really, really saddened by this. Although earlier today, Abdul Samad Sharif Nasir, governor of Mombasa, did indicate that is where people can actually go and send in their condolences. I think there's a book that they can be able to write to. Can you imagine the number of books that will be collected for the Right Honorable Raila Omolo Odinga?
You know, Fatma, I pray that this will be state regalious. These books, in the United States, every president has a museum. I also pray that Kenya will have a museum for every president.
Yes.
A place where you can go and read about their legacy, their philosophy, their ideology, read about their history, how they began, and how they became the president. Unfortunately, when we read about politics of this country and about politicians and their mama, there's a lot about political betrayal that sometimes you don't want to put in some of those books. For example, if you read about political mama, you know, of 2000 and maybe 2007, 2008, and subsequent, you know, violence that took place in this country, and you know, civil disobedience, and then you say the gentleman became the president, and then the person who won became the prime minister. Sometimes we want to avoid that history, but it's important that we do it so that people know that politics of desert is good. It might give you a position, it might give you position, but then soon after that, Kibaki passes on. And so you ask yourself, why couldn't you just think about the country and not yourself? Because you're not even going to. And such a place where people are now sending their eulogy, sending their prayers, sending their support for the family, that we will have. I know Oginga Odinga, for a fact, I've been to his mausoleum, has won. But his son, Oginga Odinga, was a vice president, the first vice president we had. And his son, Raila Odinga, is now, was actually the second prime minister we ever had. And so I pray that Prime Minister Raila Odinga, the family will find it fit to build for him a museum with all his regalia, including those books, and people will sign them from all the counties and the prayers that they had, and the things they thought about him, and then put it in a book. And then in that book you can put it in a museum, and then a few years down the line you can go through it and say, me, Fatma, so and so, I was here when Raila Odinga died. And you can say, tell your grandchildren a few years down the line, look, I was there, I witnessed it. And if you want to know that I was hugely involved in the political arena at that happens. Yes. And so I hope that we will have something like that. Funniest comment ever, and people said, you know, Kenya was given to us by colonial government, and for that reason, look at that road. You don't know, you honestly don't know how you want to pass that bridge, going over there, because people are up and people are down. So you don't know how that, and I think it is important for us to, from what you said, Fatma, that maybe the time might be extended, because if you're looking at that crowd already on the road,
I don't think they're going to make it by 2, because remember they have to go to Lee funeral first.
Yeah. So when you're looking at people already, and that's Raila for you, and you cannot blame that on the people.
You cannot.
Because when Raila came out of the country, you remember the famous quote, Baba, while you are away, when he came back, people were all over that road until town. And this is their final ride. This is the final time they will ever follow Raila. Give it to them.
And people have stopped their day-to-day routines to go and welcome the Right Honorable.
In fact, when I was driving over here, I actually realized that, well,
it's
we
like
know
a public
that
holiday.
Somehow traffic's not source. From what you ask is, I think it is important. We want to send our condolences. I don't. But you know what? Somebody will. And from that book, Fatma, one day you become the governor of whichever country. Where do you come from?
I am from.
But she was an anchor, and then she was also actively involved in these kind of things. And then she became a governor. Is important in this leadership arena that we have, and that's Ida and Ruth Odinga. She's
emotionally grief.
Yeah, you can imagine.
You can imagine the pain.
You know,
that
one of
she's
the things,
through.
one of the things that will bother her for the rest of her life is the fact that the husband died while she was in this country. That will bother Ida.
Yes, she was not there.
That will bother Ida. Because it might have not looked serious when former Prime Minister, what? He was there. And he was there with the because you know, when you're married, his daughter or his sister or somebody else.
Yeah. Give you some kind of closure, believe it or not.
And there's nothing cool. Anybody else was Ida Odinga, and people have written a lot, but what happened that I wasn't there? That is a question that will linger in our heart.
Closure. And for human beings, actually, closure is what makes you rightly say. She's probably going to be thinking about that for a very, very long time. And yes, people have written about it. People have talked to the extent of people saying there's no way that the Right Honorable Raila just died if the wife was in the country. You know.
Well, that is true. And it's painful. But yet we can say anything. Exonerate her and not, you know, not even blame her for that. But I'm talking about her as an individual going through what happened, and that I have to be told the story of my husband by somebody else and not me. Yet, in the struggle of life, when Raila Amolo Odinga was in jail, she was there to welcome him. In all the struggles that they've had, the post, the single party rule, the multi-party democracy, and the struggles of multi-party democracy, the struggle about the new constitution, those were hard moments. Those were moments when Raila was on the street. They would be clobbered. They would be consuming more tear gas than they could ever imagine. Raila perhaps need to be given a medal to a man that have consumed more tear gas canisters in this country than anybody else. In fact, Raila need to be given a medal. For all the tear gas that has been used in this country, I think he's one who has actually made Kenya use all that money. But you know what? That did not come in vain. Okay. Every struggle that he had came to pass.
Yes. Okay, so pictures on the TV, we are looking at the parliament where Raila Amolo Odinga's body is meant to be viewed from 2 p.m. I don't know if we will make it at 2 p.m., but that was the set time that was announced to us by the Deputy President, who is also the chair of the State Funeral Committee, that the body is set to be viewed from 2 to 5 p.m. And now they are just making necessary arrangements just to welcome the body and accord the body the much respect that it deserves. The motorcade has left JKIA, but meanwhile the president, including relatives of Raila, the wife, Mama Ida, the sister, Ruth Odinga, are still at JKIA alongside other dignitaries, and they're trying to console, they're consoling the relatives and those who've been hurt. You can see our former president right there Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta. We can see our CS for Health, Aden Duale, alongside our Governor for Mombasa County, Abdul Samad Sharif Nasir. Most are there to just give respect to the fallen Raila Omolo Odinga. You can see, well, we've moved from there, but they are consoling. All the dignitaries are present in one place, and they're being led by our very own President, William Samoei Ruto, who is alongside our former President, Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta. We did not see much of Uhuru yesterday, but I am so happy that we are seeing him today in action at the JKIA. Although yesterday he did put a tweet out there and a message of condolence to the family of the Right Honorable Raila Amolo Odinga. Now, the dignitaries who had escorted the body from India, led by the Prime Cabinet Secretary Musalia Mudavadi, are also still at JKIA, because we could see the likes of CS Joho, who went, and he's right there. We also, I think I saw Kimani Ichung'wah earlier on, the leader of the majority in the National Assembly.
So the PS of Health,
PS of
Dr.
Health.
Luga.
Yes, they're all present, and they're trying to console and make a moment right now. And now it's time to move, and we need to move now from JKIA and go to Lee Funeral, because honestly, it's 10:20. We are running out of time, and not to rush the state funeral. I as Fatima cannot rush the state funeral, but given the timings that were specifically said by the deputy president yesterday evening, we are probably running out of time. So yes, here we are at the Lee funeral. Perhaps we can listen in. Do we have sound for that?
Can I start?
Yes.
Well, this is a very sad time for us as Kenyans to have lost such a great leader like Raila Amolo Odinga. What Raila did for this country, I don't even have time to tell people, because everybody knows. And you can see how the country went at standstill yesterday when they heard that Raila had died. Raila was a great person. He fought for this country. At least for democracy, what he fought for, we can see. The only thing I can do now is to appeal to the leadership that one of the things that Raila never saw as one of the things he was fighting for is corruption. If these people who are in leadership or people who are appointed in positions can make sure that they stop corruption, particularly in the departments where they are, we would have made a step ahead. Because what is deterring this country is corruption. Because without corruption, we can develop like those countries we are always talking about. Number two, Raila was taking care of so many people. Yeye alikuwa ni kama pengine nyinyi wengine hamjachunga mbuzi. Alikuwa ni kama ile he goat. Unajua ile mbuzi kubwa ile adume inaruka inashika matawi, alafu matawi inarudi chini. Ndio tule tudogo tunakula sasa hiyo matawi. He was like that. He was never selfish. He worked for the poor. He made sure that everything that he did, the poor benefited. Hakukuwa selfish. Kama angekuwa selfish, he would be one of the multi-millionaires in this country. But he wasn't. Alikuwa na share ile kidogo anayo. Alikuwa akifika mahali watu wako, anakula nao hata kwa market, hata kwa kiosk. You remember one time alisema, ati hata nisipopata president, nitaenda kukaa Kibera, nikule mandazi na chai na watu wa Kibera. So we hope the leaders who have been left behind will emulate what Raila Odinga had in mind and what he wanted. because selfishness is what is killing this country. Watu kujitafutia, watu hawaendi hawapigania leadership kusaidia wananchi. Wengi wao wanapigania viti kwa ajili ya matumbo zao. Tafadhali sisi kama viongozi sasa tuanze kupigania wananchi, ndio Raila atafurahi mahali popote atakuwa kule pembeni. Asanteni sana.
She's not aware. You are aware, but you are not aware.
Oh, okay.
There's something we had planned. Asante. Yes, yes. Yeah, sawa, sawa. Haya, sawa. Asante sana. Jina langu ni Mawadhe, Musili Mawadhe, MP Embakasi South Constituency. Mimi mwanzo nataka kutoa rambirambi zangu kwa Mama Aida na watoto wa baba. Tumempoteza kigogo wa Kenya. Aliyekuwa Prime Minister wetu Raila Amolo Odinga ni baba ya wengi, baba yetu sisi wa Kenya, baba yangu, na tunahuzunika sana kwa kumpoteza baba yetu. Baba ametufanyia mengi kama wa Kenya. Baba alikuwa amejitolelea kuwahudumia wa Kenya. Baba alikuwa ana interest zake za kipekee, alikuwa anajipenda yeye peke yake, alikuwa anapenda Kenya yote. Baba ndiye ametuletea hii multi-party democracy ambao tulionayo hapa Kenya. Baba alipigania mpaka kabidi akapelekwa jela, akabidi akakwenda exile, na eventually tukasucceed kupata multi-party democracy kwa sababu ya baba. Baba ndiye atakumbuka kwa kutuletea katiba. Katiba ya 2010 ni sababu ya vita na nguvu na uwezo na kusukumana kwa baba. Baba ndiye ametuwezesha sisi kupata hata devolution. Yeye ndio wakati tangu mbeleni akipigania mambo ya devolution. Kwa hivyo sisi tuko hapa hivi leo kumwomboleza baba. Tunatoa risala zangu za kibinafsi. Pia najua Mheshimiwa Stephen Kalonzo Musyoka ambaye amekuwa na yeye tukiwa CORD, tukiwa NASA na tukiwa Azimio. Alikuwa amesafiri ng'ambo na yuko njiani anarudi nyumbani sababu amesema lazima aje kuhudhuria mazishi ya baba. Asanteni sana kwa huo muda mfupi, na again nawapeni pole wa Kenya wote. Sisi sote tumepoteza. Asante na Mungu awabariki. Madam Wasia, Women Rep Siaya.
Yeah. Thank you very much. My name is Dr. Christine Ombaka. I am the County Member of Parliament from Siaya. I want to take this opportunity to celebrate the life of Baba wetu mpendwa, Baba Raila Amolo Odinga. My heartfelt condolences to the family, Mama Aida, the children, relatives, friends, and everybody in Kenya. We miss Baba already, and Baba played a very, very huge role that nobody will ever play. His politics was above board. His politics was very, very special. He liberated us from so many oppressions. He hated tribalism. He hated oppressing the poor. He fought for the human rights. He fought for women. And he wanted Kenya to be free and to enjoy the fruits of our labor. Baba was a distinguished politician. Baba was an icon. He was a legend. The history of Kenya will never be written properly if Baba Raila Amolo Odinga's roles and responsibilities is not covered in that book. Raila Amolo Odinga will be studied in history. People will come all over the world to study the life and times of Baba Raila Amolo Odinga. I want to believe that Kenyans have learned lessons from the politics that Baba played in this country. Baba had agenda. Baba had no time to talk about people. Baba had issues to discuss politically. And that is how we will remember him. He fought for this country. He was imprisoned for this country. He sacrificed his family. And he has left a huge gap that will never be filled. Let's pray for his soul to rest in peace. Let's pray for the family to stay strong at this trying time. And I know Kenya will be peaceful, having learned that peace is a treasured value. Thank you. And Kenya stays safe.
Mwingine anishikie. Mwingine anishikie. Let's be fair. Yeah. Mwingine anishikie.
Okay. All right, so we just had a side-by-side footage there, one from JKIA and the other from the Lee Funeral Home. Now, various committees were set aside to just ensure the coordination for... Okay, let's just listen in for 1 minute and then we'll get back to that.
Leader who has fought for our democracy, for our equality, for our rights over time. He led by example. He spoke many things, and actually even within the whole realm of social democracy, equity, and really propelling everybody to reach their standard that they're required to reach, he actually urged us on all the time. So we've come to recognize him as a leader, not only in Kenya, but the whole world. And together with all Kenyans, we say, Baba, go well until we meet again, and we thank you for the leadership that you've given us in this country.
Face the cameras.
Okay.
The center one.
Yeah, all the way from Busia. I'm Catherine Omanyo. Baba has discovered so many people. And in doing that, the relationship he has built is beyond his death. The legacy he's leaving behind. The father of the minorities, the father of the orphans, father of those, all the vulnerable. Among others, he discovered potential in me, raised my hand, introduced me to the people. Senior, he's too, you know, what did he see in me? I do not want to let him down. Everything I have gained, it's because of reading Baba's movements. He is a movement. The world is asking what just happened. So many of us were not prepared. Many times when you have somebody around you, you always never imagine that he will be gone someday. So I was caught unawares yesterday. For some time, I was like, the haters are at it again. But I got the news from very reliable sources over and over. And then I finally said, yeah, it has happened. But he sneaked out like a thief, very quietly. We will never let Baba down. Kenyans, let us be peaceful. There are so many things Baba still had to do, but he has passed the baton. Many younger leaders protecting so area, he would tell you, I know so and so. Go and see that person. You will be helped. And Baba has grown And I'm like, God is in charge now. God is in charge now. We also want to pray for our nation, the leaders, the president, every person in Kenya, whether you hated Baba or not. Right now, you are grieving, you are mourning, because there is no comparison. If I was to describe Baba, I would take years on end. Otherwise, let us remain peaceful.
Thank you. Just face the cameras.
Name is Joyce Kamene Kasimbi, the Machakos County Women Rep. And I want to take this opportunity to convey my heartfelt condolences to the family of Raila Amolo Odinga. Baba is no more with us. But we say, pole sana also to the entire nation. Baba was the father of democracy. I can strongly stand here and say today, the freedom that we have, Baba has contributed a lot. Baba, we are the children of Baba. We in the opposition, indeed, are grieving. A soldier, a legend, who taught us to stand with the truth, to stand for the justice of the people, to fight for the rights of the people. Our Moses is no more, but Joshua's are standing strong to make sure we reach the Canaan land, because I remember Baba in his days stood and told us, finally we will get to Canaan. We know Canaan, we are not there today, but hopefully with what he has instilled in us and what we saw in him, we celebrate him, saying rest in peace, but we will continue soldiering on. May the good Lord receive him up in heaven. Thank you.
Si hata mimi nitoe rambirambi zangu.
Okay, so that was at Lee Funeral Home. Now remember, there are various committees that were created just to make this state funeral go as smoothly and as successfully as possible. At the Lee Funeral Home, the committee there was being led by the Tourism CS, Rebecca Miano, and we could see various MPs there who were giving out their condolences and just reliving the legacy of the Right Honorable Raila Amolo Odinga. We had Fred Gumo, former Westlands MP, who gave out his sentiments, stating that Raila Amolo Odinga was never tribal, and indeed he was a man of the people. We also had Julius Mawathe, who is the current Embakasi South MP, speaking highly of the Right Honorable Raila Amolo Odinga as well. Various lady MPs, Agnes Zani was there, Mumo was there, and they were all speaking highly of the late Right Honorable Raila Amolo Odinga, stating that he was never tribal at any point. He was a man of the people. Raila Amolo Odinga, you would hear him being praised from Mombasa all the way to Kisumu, across from Garissa, all the way to Nairobi, to Kitui, to Kakamega. Every part of this country would sit and talk about the late Right Honorable Raila Amolo Odinga. The convoy has left JKIA, but as you can see, the number of fans are increasing by the because the defense forces at the very front who are leading the convoy are trying as hard as possible to clear the way so that the vehicles can move. Remember, we have a time limit that is expected saw earlier from the pictures from the National Assembly, the preparations have been made, and it's just the body of the Right Honorable Raila Amolo Odinga that is being waited for. However, movement is very, very slow. As you can see on your screen, it's practically is extremely, extremely slow. So in the hopes that the plane landed later than we expected, the movement is quite slower than we expected. We are hoping that they will allow an extension of the body of the viewing of the body at the Parliament. Now in studio, I am, of course, with the very talented governance expert and political analyst, Michael Agwanda.
You got it right.
I got it this time, yes.
Yeah.
Michael Agwanda, and he's helping us unfold and make sense of everything. We also want to talk about what next for Kenya. What next? What does the post-Raila era look like? And Agwanda, when we were on break and listening to the MPs speaking at Lee funeral, something came to my mind, and I was thinking most of those MPs that were talking are those that have the power, form the backdrop of the late Raila Amolo Odinga. And not just them, there are various other political figures in other positions, high up, as high as CS positions, that have those positions courtesy of the late Baba. Yeah. All right. As you can see on our pictures, that's Ogeta, who used to be the security of Raila, and is also being consoled because he worked very, very closely with
He's arrived at Lee.
Amolo Odinga, sorry?
He's already arrived at Lee funeral.
He's arrived at Lee?
Mm-hmm.
Yes, he has arrived. He has arrived at Lee funeral home. So, yes, the security, as you can see, the security, that is Raila's security, who's being comforted because he was with Raila most of his life. Mm. So naturally, he formed a bond with the right Raila Amolo Odinga. And if the security is there, that means the body has arrived. That means it's on the way. It's still on the way, yes. It is still on the way.
When the military take over, then you can go.
So, yeah. There's a lot of consoling that is going on. Everybody is feeling this a different way in their hearts because Raila, as we have discussed over and over, Raila was indeed a man of the people. And it's very evident from how you can see how everybody has left their day-to-day routine to just come and repatriate the body of the late Right Honorable Raila Amolo Odinga. That is just the security that is being consoled by various people. He did lose a great man. I mean, if he was great for me and for you, Michael, you can imagine how he is feeling right now. And we're still waiting for him. He's on his way, the convoy, to get to Lee funeral, and then again to get to the Parliament. Some announcements were made this morning. Oburu Odinga will now be the acting ODM leader. And Friday the 17th, which is tomorrow, has been marked as a public holiday and has been gazetted to enable Kenyans to be able to mourn and also give out their condolences for the late Right Honorable Raila Amolo Odinga. The president did announce that he is being accorded a state funeral, but the outcome is more than we expected. These are people that have left their jobs. These are people that have left their day-to-day routine, and they're marching with the Kenyan flag, and they're marching with tree branches in honor, and with their flutes, and they're shouting Baba, and they're singing. They were singing that the Luo song for Baba, which you gave me the translation for.
They actually sang Ungenga Mababo Senego, which simply means there's nobody that Baba has killed.
There's nobody that Baba has killed. All right, okay. So just as an overview, what does the post-Raila era look like, Michael? I really want us to get into that because, as I was explaining earlier before I got back into the pictures, it's very, you can see that some seats that are being occupied are occupied courtesy because Raila put some of the people there. What does their future look like? And also generally, what does the future also of Kenya look like right now?
You know, Fatma, I like Ogeta going around and going to the Lee funeral. And I want to just say something. That shows you that has finally taken over the funeral. Ogeta is a civilian, personal bodyguard of Honorable Raila Odinga with great training, and he's been there as his confidant. I believe Ogeta knows so much that sometimes even the family do not know. It is unfortunate that Oduor, his other bodyguard, just died about 2 months ago, I believe. I think it's 2 months ago that it passed on. And then now his boss follows and passes on. And so that leaves Ogeta with a volume of information. The things that Baba was doing without the knowledge of the family is known by this man. The places he went to,
yes,
without the family, is known by this man. The people he met at the wee hours of the day, the people he met when the state did not want him to meet anybody, the people he met within the state, you know, fulcrum, the state government that sometimes he met without even wanting the president to know that he's meeting so and so, but within the same government, he knows them. This is the most important person and piece in the information area that Raila has been in for a very long time. You want to treat this guy very carefully, and the family really need to embrace this man so that he can tell them even some pieces of property that perhaps were bought. Men do all this kind of, you know,
the ones
things
that they hide from their wives.
Yeah.
So the security must have known.
Oh, he'll know because he went
other
there.
men know.
Yeah,
but your wife never knows.
No, sometimes your wife knows, but the details, how much was paid and stuff like that, sometimes you don't divulge those information because, you know, it is always known that if you go tell your wife that I want to buy this piece of land, and your wife still feels that you need to buy a new, you know, set of sofa set, that she'll sway you into buying the sofa set, not the piece of land. You know what I mean?
Okay, I do. Yeah. Another topic for another
day. So you wanna, you wanna say, well, let me buy this thing and it is done. Then I surprise, I tell her, oh, you know, I just finished buying this thing, so you get to know. And sometimes people lose properties just because they died suddenly. I have you know, it's a very sad story, but I have you know, in my village, there's an individual who had lots of money, and then he took the money, and then after taking the money, he gave it to his father. I wouldn't mention him. And then, you know, he knew that the guy died. And it was a lot of money. The guy died. And you know, but you know, a few years down the line,
should we listen? Let's listen.
Has been an exemplary life, a life of sacrifice, a life of resilience, a life of love. I have known the Right Honorable Raila Odinga for over 40 years, in which I've worked very closely with him, as all of you know. And in our last interactions in the public arena, I think it was at the Kenyatta International Conference Center on Katiba Day, where, as he has always done, the Right Honorable Raila Odinga told us the hard truths. But you all know that a year ago, there was a crisis in this country. A crisis that I would like to say was almost existential. And as the Right Honorable Raila Odinga has done before, he once again stepped forward for the nation. And he, together with the President, brought Kenya together to bind its wounds and to heal it. And later, as you all know, he signed an MOU between ODM and UDA to strengthen the purposes and the predicates of the broad-based government. I want Kenyans to realize that it was that singular act of sacrifice by the Right Honorable Raila Odinga and the President that is why we are enjoying the peace that we are enjoying today. You also know that the Right Honorable Raila Odinga was the moving spirit behind the struggle progressive national document in the world. It is that document that gave us devolution, that gave us independent institutions, that gave us the Bill of Rights, and that gave us the basis for creating the democratic society that we are creating today. I want to tell Kenyans that as Mzee leaves us, that we must make sure that he lives larger in his death than the instructions that is that this country must remain united, that we must continue to hold hands, that we must decry and abandon divisionism and splitism, that we must understand that we are all Kenyans. Whether we come from Mandera, whether we come from Kilifi, whether we come from Kitui, whether we come from Gatundu, wherever we come from, we are all equal before the law, and we all must have equal opportunities in this place that we call Kenya. And that is the only way that our democratic experiment will succeed. I want to say that there is no other way for us to honor Mzee than to honor that legacy. As you all know, Mzee suffered a lot in his life. He was tormented for many years. And yet, Mzee never carried any bitterness inside himself. He never held grudges. Mzee always lived a life of virtue. That we must remain one country, united as a republic. I thank you.
So that was Professor Makau Mutua at the Lee Funeral Home. Now, Professor Makau Mutua is a close ally of the late Right Honorable Raila Omolo Odinga, a respected constitutional scholar, a human rights advocate, and a professor. He also served as one of Raila's long-time legal advisors and confidants, particularly during the constitutional reforms process. And I think that's why he spoke about it very comfortably, the Constitution, the 2010 Constitution, stating that Raila was a key pillar in the formation of that 2010 Constitution, which has given us devolution today and has given us the Bill of Rights and the freedoms that we enjoy today. And Raila was a very, very key pillar in that. Now, Professor Makau Mutua has painted Raila Odinga as an ultimate bridge builder, a man who even that he recalls exactly a year ago when the country faced deep political tension. Raila Odinga chose dialogue over confrontation, and that's when they signed ODM and UDA together. That was last year. And this has been since. If I continue fighting this, the country goes into chaos. So what do? Let me just partner with you. That the true die-hard fanatics of but what probably they didn't understand is Raila had a system of the ends is what justifies the means. That is what is important. What are we looking? What is the end goal here? The end goal is to actually bring harmony and peace. And that's what exactly that Professor Makau Mutua was talking about, saying that, yes, between ODM and UDA to Senator Muma, who's we can listen in to her.
So, for me, the loss of Baba is profound, is painful, is a loss that I believe the nation will soon realize is profound. I want to use the time to eulogize Baba as my statesman number one in this country. Baba was Kenyan, true Kenyan, and he thought about Kenya, contemplated Kenya, and his every action was actually about the good of Kenya. He has been vilified. He has gone to jail for thinking about Kenya. He has actually been demonized for taking actions that actually held this country. He was very forgiving. The greatest forgiveness, in my view, was after the loss, after the stealing of the 2007 elections, which was very clear. But Baba, after the Kofi Annan team came in, Baba to actually calm down, calm the situation, and agree that the country is bigger than. He nurtured leadership at every step. Beyond the membership. The structure that Baba put in place is such that everyone in the party I don't think any other party has that. Therefore, sometimes when you see a lot of pull and push, it's about having too many leaders in one room. Even those who thought they could smokescreen and bamboozle him into a particular thinking, Baba always stayed true to his social democratic ideology. He had an eye for the vulnerable. He saw the women, he saw the children, he saw the youth, he saw people of different ethnicities. And given a chance, even with a small piece of slice of bread to share, Baba shared it with the nation. In our nominations, he nominated Samburu, Turkana, people from all Kenya in the ODM nominations. So we are mourning I think Baba has died. It is his Constitution is very, very clear. Those of us in these spaces will continue to echo what he said, stand by the Constitution, and even where he felt we had not factored some things as we should have in devolution, he still remained true to the Constitution as is. So for many of us, we are orphans because he nurtured us, he gave us the courage to lead. I also want to say that Baba people political meetings from morning to evening. If Baba went to the gym in Serena, there were people waiting to discuss with him. If Baba went to a restaurant, there was somebody waiting to speak with him something political. So Baba actually sacrificed so much for this country. You will also know that his family suffered for being his family. Ida Odinga actually was denied opportunities. His brothers and sisters always vilified because they are Odingas. Actually, they to be the big movement that he is for allowing Baba to nurture the nation, for allowing Baba to grow leadership among many, for allowing Baba to speak for the vulnerable, and we will continue speaking for those vulnerable. Thank you very much.
I think, Santi, may I say something? Fellow Kenyans, in remembering the life of the Right Honorable Raila Amolo Odinga. And I think, like has already been said, the history of Kenya in the last 4 or 5 decades will not be complete without the name of one Raila Amolo Odinga. Most of the leaders, the current top political leadership in this country, derive their career and mentorship at one time or the other from Raila Amolo Odinga. And I think this can be seen across all the players who are currently there. And therefore, we want to celebrate him as a leader who also knew that tomorrow belongs to those who prepare for it. And for that reason, across the whole country, from the coast to Turkana, to Samburu, to Nakuru, all the places, there are young men and women, some already in leadership, some nominated initially, then others became leaders. So he believed in the youth and empowering them to be the next generation. And we celebrate them because as we get older in life and in career, we owe it to the next generation that we must prepare them to be able to move forward. He was also very, very passionate about his country. He knew he was not in a perfect country, but he also knew that there is no place in the world with a perfect country. So he believed in his country, in the circumstances in which it was, but also believed it was his responsibility to make it a better Kenya. And for that reason, every struggle that has been there in this country, from the multi-party struggle to the new constitution, starting with the 2005 that was not successful, to the 2010 when we formally ushered the new constitution. The name of Raila remained core to all the deliberations that were there. And without him, maybe we would not be having this new constitution. So we celebrate him for being a pioneer, for being one who was able to see beyond his time and see the changes that the new constitution would bring. He is also remembered for being very particular about devolution. At a time when devolution faced many challenges from different quarters, I think Baba's voice remained constant to ensure that the provisions of the constitution on devolving not just the existing functions but even further functions as prescribed in the constitution were fully devolved to ensure that both the letter and spirit of the constitution was adhered to. So we celebrate him, and the Constitution of Kenya is partly because of his efforts and his passion to make a better Kenya. In the area of elections, democracy, and reconciliation, again, he knew for sure elections are divisive. Elections come, one person wins or the other one, but ultimately it's not the person who wins, it is the country. Actions that sometimes could undermine the future, the stability, the goodwill you have created over time should not be swallowed because of a single election or the outcome of an election. And therefore Baba was in the forefront. When an election was over, be it at maybe at the county level, at the national level, if he won, he would celebrate. If he didn't win, he knew there would be another election and that there should be no reason for us to ban our country because we don't agree on a particular election. So again, he must be given full credit for the stability that we see in our country and the respect for Kenya democracy that we have had over the years. And many know that a lot of the things that Kenya does, even other countries in the region will follow suit. So Kenya becomes a pioneer, not only just in having elections, managing them, and also whatever other circumstances that come thereafter, he would put the country first. And for him, we really want to thank him. As we have said also, he would call out that which was not right. Even when it meant going against the grain, going against powerful forces, Baba knew what was good for Kenya, and he said it. But he also said it in a manner that respected the Constitution. So many of us will recall last year when we must seek solutions within the Constitution, within the laws of the land, so that we do not go away that tomorrow may be injurious to the whole country. And for that reason, the broad-based government was initiated, and we also want to thank him and the president for putting the nation first. And this is what makes Kenya different. This is what makes Kenya stable. And that's why even investments in Kenya are higher, because people believe that irrespective of the elections, Kenya will remain what it is now, 5 years, 10 years, and so on. That constitutional respect. Baba diplomacy and protocol to the trenches. He would do it with such ease that were necessary to make Kenya what it is today. So we celebrate him. We thank his family for the many personal and difficult sacrifices that they made. But he comes from a family, and these sacrifices sometimes are borne by the family. But I think in all, we say, Baba, rest in peace. We'll forever remember your contribution to our nation. Thank you. Yeah, but let's manage that well. It's because of the... Yeah, let's manage it better, isn't it? Please, feel free.
Many times, many times, Papa has chosen Kenya again and again over his political interests. We have seen many sacrifices. Thank you for the service which he led unto this nation. Kenya is standing tall among the communities of nation because of many contributions that many leaders have made, but the contribution that Papa has made stood out in a very big manner. Again, it's a difficult moment for the nation, and the memories of Papa can only be a blessing to all of us, if especially those who are in executive are going to work extremely hard to ensure that the ideals of Papa, and for instance, the public service, we have to work as much, hard enough to ensure the public service of the Republic of Kenya serves the people of Kenya well. These are the ideals, the aspiration of Baba. And not only the public service, but all the sectors. So that memories of Papa can be indeed a blessing for all of us. It is true that the family has made many sacrifices. We continue to thank the family of Papa, Mama Inda, the sons and daughters of Papa, for the sacrifices also they have made to give Papa to Kenyans. So this moment, we continue to mourn and we continue to ask all Kenyans to remain calm. It's a moment for our nation to reflect on many things that Papa has done for this nation and to see how all those many things that Papa has made a sacrifice can be a blessing for all of us so that we can make our country even much, much better. With those remarks, I send my personal condolences to Mama Inda, to the family at this very delicate moment. We continue to stand with the family and we continue to stand with all Kenyans. Representatives sent here by the President William Ruto to ensure that anything that is happening here is according to the plan as far as the government of His Excellency William Ruto has planned. And we are committed to ensure we give Papa the best befitting send-off as a hero, as a great son of our nation.
Let me also take this opportunity to convey my prayers to the family of the late Honorable Raila Odinga and the entire nation for this loss that is very devastating. I knew Baba for quite a long time myself at a personal level. I remember when I was the principal of a North Science Secondary School in Narok County, Transmara. He played a critical role in transforming the school by providing us computers and also supporting the construction of teachers' quarters. But above that, through the Raila Odinga Foundation, he was also able to touch the lives of very many children across the country who required educational support, bursaries, and not just that, but other humanitarian aspects. And so, aside from the political angle, which obviously he had a touch on the education of the people of Kenya, and also a touch on the humanitarian aspects that really helped the community. And so I remember him in a very special way personally, and he's such a magnanimous person who was always ready to forgive, but also who is ready to stand firm whenever the rights of the people, the needs of the people, and he always put the nation above self. So as we all mourn this great leader, let us keep on praying for his family, for the country, and even for peace and tranquility as we continue during this particular moment. I also join, therefore, on behalf of the State Department for Tourism and my principal secretary's colleagues, who are also, a number of them are going to the airport and also in other areas, to ensure that we also join during this time of mourning. And I'm sure his legacy will live forever. What he has done will live forever. And let's continue praying for his family to be strong during this particular moment. And with that, I also send my condolences, personal condolences, and prayers during this painful time. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, so that is at the Lee funeral live, where we spoke to Senator Muma, and Senator Muma's tribute speaks high of the former Prime Minister, the Right Honorable Raila Amolo Odinga. So let us go back to the convoy. As we can see, the convoy is almost at the Lee funeral home. It's still en route. It's moving quite slowly. It's moving at a walking pace because of the number of people that are on the road. And these are all fans of the late Right Honorable Raila Amolo Odinga. Nobody has pushed them. Nobody has caused any chaos. Nobody has caused any violence. They're just there to mourn peacefully for the fallen late Right Honorable Raila Amolo Odinga. We did hear the CS Lee Kinyanjui speaking highly of the Right Honorable Raila Amolo Odinga, as well as the Senator Muma also speaking very highly. In fact, Senator Muma says that what the country doesn't understand is that the family of Raila Amolo Odinga also suffered a lot because they had to bear the burden of being family or related to Raila Amolo Odinga, citing an example where Mama Ida Odinga herself was denied a public service opportunity job simply because she was married to the late Right Honorable Raila Amolo Odinga. And these are things that maybe the country doesn't really know much of yet. Speaking of his years in detention, stating that he was tortured, he was isolated, he was at a loss. And yet when he did not choose bitterness, he actually chose to keep fighting for a freer and fairer Kenya. As Senator Muma puts it, perhaps the nation doesn't yet see the full picture. But in time, Kenyans will realize that the depth of this loss goes beyond politics. So, all right, this is Oburu Odinga, who's the acting leader of the ODM. Let's listen in.
Kendo koro watimo miluongo ni celebration jakom osebet kodu en ng'atu manyaka wakowe gi luor kendo gi hera. Koro miyo awakwayo kaka famili ni waduto wadhi uru kore parliament kama wadhi nene waduto wakwayo ni ji duto koro wadhi ure parliament mondo wan kaka famili umewa thuolo mondo waik dende maber mondo wabe wadene sup maka onene to waneno kober mano e gima dwaro. Mano wakwayo gi thuolo ni kaka famili weuru mondo waike mondo waduto te wadhi ure parliament. Waonge wach gi babu. Babu bro biro. Erokamano.
Bas, asante sana.
Asante.
Ndugu waombolezaji, kiongozi wetu ambaye ni hayati sasa wako hapa, walikuwa wanauliza kwa heshima, kwa sababu mwili itakuwa pale bunge na mtakubaliwa, mkubali watoto, mama na family, tafadhali wafanyie heshima zao za mwisho.
Aku baca negeri baru. Aku pakai dua.
By a group of us, a small group of us, because
Haya, karibu turuwadi.
Ni maombolezi tu yanaendelea hapa basi, na hapa nipo na viongozi wa dini ya Kiislamu na wale wa Kikristo basi wameweza kufika hapa pia tayari kuweza kutoa risala zao za rambirambi na kueleza vipi ambao wanaweza kumkumbuka basi huyu kinara wa chama cha ODM na pia vile Prime Minister Raila Odinga ambaye tayari basi mwili wake ushawasili humu nchini. Na pia kaunti ya Mombasa kumeweza kushuhudiwa pia vile maandamano ya vijana wakiweza kuandamana pia vile wakiweza kutoa heshima zao za mwisho kwa kiongozi huyu Raila Odinga ambaye ukanda wa Pwani basi umekuwa ni ukanda ambao amekuwa kienziwa pakubwa. Bila kupoteza wakati basi nitaweza kuongea tu na viongozi hawa niko nao hapa hivi. Hujambo, unaitwa nani? Unamkumbuka vipi kinara huyu basi wa chama cha ODM ambaye sasa ametuacha Prime Minister Raila Odinga? Kiufupi tu.
Kwa majina ni Katada. Viongozi wa taifa sababu alikuwa ni kiongozi wa taifa nzima, na kwa hali kama hii tutatoa rambirambi zetu kwa familia, kwa mama Ida Odinga, kwa watoto wake, kwa serikali, kwa wanachama na wanasiasa wa ODM, bali kwa Wakenya wote kwa jumla, kwa huu mtihani ambao kwamba umetupata. Ni mtihani wa kitaifa, na tunasema inna lillahi wa inna ilaihi raji'un. Sisi sote ni wa Mwenyezi Mungu na sote tutarejea kwa Mwenyezi Mungu Subhanahu wa Ta'ala. Zaidi tunaomba tuweni ni wenye kudumisha jambo zima la amani, kwa sababu alikuwa ni kiongozi ambaye kwamba anatakia nchi amani. Alikuwa hataki vurugu katika nchi, basi tubakisheni legacy ambayo kwamba alikuwa anaitakia nchi yetu.
Tunaweza kuzingatia amani pakubwa. Bishop, ukisonga tu hapa, wewe utaweza kumkumbuka vipi Raila Odinga?
Sasa unajua tunataka kuzika baba namna hiyo. Baba ndio kiongozi na baba ndio kila kitu, namna hiyo. Sasa unajua
tunaomba legacy yake iendelee, maana angekuwa hai asingetaka kuona mambo mengine. Kwa hivyo kile tumeona Nairobi ni mwanzo, kwa sababu watu wanasikia hasira, kwa sababu wanataka kuombolezea kwa njia tofauti zile wanazozijua, ili watoe kile kiko ndani ya roho zao, na waruhusiwe kufanya hivyo, lakini waache utaratibu uliopangwa na serikali.
Viongozi wa dini katika makanisa, mnaapia kuzungumzia swala hilo
katika mkoa huu na katika kufanya mbea boma yake na tunaamini ya kwamba Mungu aliyetupa Raila atatupa Raila mwingine. Lakini hapa Pwani ufuasi wake ulikuwa mkubwa na utaendelea pia.
Kurudisha matangazo hayo Nairobi, unamkumbuka vipi Raila Amolo Odinga na ungependa kipi kiweze kufanyika sasa?
Mimi kwa majina naitwa Askofu Mauta, niko Mombasa wa Center of Care Church, na ninakumbuka Bwana Raila toka anza. Kwa hivyo wale ambao wanabaki ili kufanya jambo lolote unaenda kinyume. Kwa hivyo wawe na ujasiri, ndio yale watafront ya kwenda mbele ya ODM miaka inayokuja kama 20-10 kwenda mbele. Yeye mzee kama angekuwa hai na angeretire leo aseme mimi siko kwa siasa, wale vijana ametrain wangekuwa wamepeleka hiyo kazi mahali hapo. So ingekuwa
basi wakija Prime Minister Raila Amolo Odinga na moja kwa moja basi nikitoka hapa nitaweza kwenda kule kuweza kukutana na yale makundi ya vijana ambayo tayari basi yanaendeleza maandamano ya kuweza kumkumbuka huyu kiongozi Prime Minister Raila Amolo Odinga. Kwa studio.
Okay, so as you can see, those are scenes coming to you live from the convoy that has left JKIA Nairobi carrying the body and remains of the Right Honorable Raila Amolo Odinga en route to Lee Funeral Home. However, it has been a slow going process. Remember, the flight landed at 9:38 this morning. It's now over 2 hours later, and the convoy is still en route to Lee Funeral Home, which prompted the acting leader of ODM, Oburu Odinga, to come out of one of the vehicles and actually address the crowd. And he spoke in the Luo, which I can loosely translate to him, asking the crowd to allow them to pass, asking the crowd to go to Parliament and view the body from there, because as you can see, time is going. The Deputy President, who is also the chair of the state funeral, also convened a message to the crowd asking them to kindly go to Parliament and view the body from there and allow them to pass. But it seems like the crowd has made its own decision. Today on studio, I am joined by Michael, who is a very prominent governance expert and political analyst. And Michael, I don't know, based on this crowd that we are seeing, the crowd is much bigger than we had anticipated. You saw even at Lee Funeral, there are on walls, there are on gates. We saw Babu, we know the likes of Gladys Cholet, they're trying to maintain the peace, but the crowd is adamantly doing as they please. What do you predict the day-to-day will look like? And more so, tomorrow at Nyayo Stadium, how is that going to look like?
Fatma, this is was a national hero, and he was also a Luo. The Luo have their rights on how they bury their heroes. At their pace, they bury their hero with twigs, shouting, proclamations, praise. They bury their hero by escorting their hero to their last and final resting place. Some of these people will not go to Nairobi. This is their last time interrogating or just interfacing with Raila Amolo. They'll ever have of Raila Amolo Odinga. They held the casket. They held the vehicles that were carrying the hearse that were carrying Raila Amolo Odinga. That they were in that convoy, and then they walked from the airport.
That they were part of
funeral,
it.
and that they were part of it, and that there were leaders who tried to convince them to allow them to move faster, but they could not because it was their day.
It was their day.
It is their day, and therefore the amount of pain, the grief, the agony, the anguish, and the potential devastation, the stress involved in it is at a catastrophic level. It is in a place where people, Fatma, there are people who did not believe that Raila was a human being. To them, he was a small god. To them, he was a man that will dictate their life. To them, he was a man that they could die for. And many died as a result of fighting on some of those street battles that they were there. They were ready to do that.
So I understand, sorry to interject you, but I understand there is some breaking news. The viewing of the body has now been moved to Kasarani, not Parliament. And I figure it's because of the crowd. Now, let me just re-say this again. This is the breaking news just coming in. The viewing of the body of the late Right Honorable Raila Amolo Odinga has been moved from Parliament to Kasarani. Is it safe to say that
even wonder why Kasarani, and I wonder which route they want to use.
How will they get to Kasarani?
Do they want to use highway? Because if they want to use Mombasa Uhuru Highway to Kasarani, I can tell you that the gridlock in this town will take a day or 24 hours to be cleared, literally.
All right. So as you can see, the red podium where the body is meant to be put on, yes, and being viewed is actually being broken down, and now it will be taken to Kasarani. And this is because the crowd has decided. I mean, I love Kenya sometimes because
Raila's
the crowd has said yes.
Raila's crowd is bigger than Parliament.
I mean, all those people were not going to fit in the Parliament.
And first of all, if they went to Parliament, Raila's crowd has never been known to be an orderly crowd. That's a fact. And when you have Parliament, then you're risking some of those walls being ripped down. You're risking about it properly. And sometimes you think like the state, but a national hero, and Raila is crowd, and crowd is Raila. That's what defines Raila. In his last moment, he will have a crowd that you could never imagine. Yes. I mean, we were discussing this with my wife, and my wife was saying, if I was there in Kisumu, and she's not going to be in Kisumu because she's traveling out of the country. If she was there in Kisumu, she said, I would have walked all the way to Bondo. That's what she was saying. I would have walked all the way to Bondo.
That's the level of...
people are already planning the trip to Bondo. It's going to take you all day because that's about 80 kilometers to about 100 kilometers there in about.
And so, I'm assuming the crowd is going to be much bigger than this.
Oh,
obviously.
In all, you know, we have all the stops in little stops when you're going to Bondo, yes. And then from Kisumu you go to, you know, you go to just Kanyameda area when you're going to Bondo, and then you have the Bondo junction. One goes to, to Maseno, and the other one goes to Bondo. That place alone is going to be trouble because those people will have to stop you. Yeah. And then you go to Akala market, and then you go to Dori market, and then you go to all these other markets that popularly, mostly are all populated. You go to Ajigo, which is now his last stop, and then you go to Bondo, where people will say you have to bring him to Bondo town before you take him to Opoda, you take his body to Opoda, his resting place, and it's going to be chaotic. It might not be what is being planned. So I don't know, but perhaps they did not think that Raila was going to pull a crowd like this. Remember, this is the last rather than the holiday that is normally gazetted. And therefore, people will have to come on the street and give it to them. This is their day. It's not the day of politics. It's not the day of supporters of Raila Amolo Odinga according him his last respect. And again, as I was saying, talking about people from Buruburu and many, many other places in this town. You're talking about people from Westlands and many places in this town that have decided that today we are going to work with Mzee. You cannot stop them to do that. And by the way, this is also a peaceful process. What has made this beautiful is it's very peaceful, except from the reports that I'm getting that actually them accessing the security area at the airport made the airport be closed temporarily for some times until everybody was cleared, because that was a security zone. But people still access it even though they were denied entry. But I can tell you, this is not a group you want to close a gate for. No, if they want to come in there,
the moment you start closing the gates is when you'll now provoke the chaos.
If they want to come there, they will.
They will.
And there's nothing you can
do.
That
will provoke them.
You can't shoot them. You can't kill them. They are there peacefully. And all they want to do is to access the Mzee, to view the body of the Mzee. All they want to do is to make sure that they are in the history, that their story will be told, that they were there when Mzee came back home.
All right.
That is important to them.
Yes. Now, news just in, the government has decided to move the public viewing of the body of the late Right Honorable Raila Amolo Odinga from Parliament Buildings to Kasarani Stadium. This decision follows massive crowds that have overwhelmed the convoy, that have overwhelmed also the security teams at the Lee Funeral Home. And they feel like these crowds are not quite suited to be at the parliament. There are way too many. There are way too many. And according to officials at the scene, this change is meant to ensure public safety and better crowd management, because the crowd keeps getting bigger by the minute. Tens of thousands of mourners continue to pour into the streets of Nairobi. The flight landed and the convoy is still en route from JKIA. They are literally at walking pace because of the crowd that has overwhelmed the roads, and the movement is quite slow. And this forced the current leader of ODM acting capacity. Continue with our program. Now, the state made a plan, but the people have made their own plan, forcing the hands of the government to move the public viewing of the Right Honorable Raila Amolo Odinga going to be arranged again at the Kasarani Stadium. The parliament was ready. The choir had already started singing. The red podium was all in place. Everybody was there, but the crowd has dictated. The crowd has said, we will bury our hero the way we want to. And as my guest here, Michael, was just explaining to us, is that this is this is the last time they are going to see the Right Honorable Raila Amolo Odinga. And obviously with tomorrow at Nyayo Stadium as well. And just to predict, for the remainder of the day, Do you foresee the plans going as planned?
No. No.
You don't see it.
Plans are not going as planned. Because according to the plan is tomorrow, the body was supposed to be taken
To Nyayo Stadium.
to Nyayo Stadium.
And now they're already going to Kasarani.
Yeah, and then after that, the body was going to lie at his home overnight. Is this a crowd you expect to go to Raila Amolo Odinga's home in Karen?
So you're saying...
Because then when you take the body there, are you going to say that we're going to block everybody from getting to that
You
home?
obviously cannot.
And now, remember, Karen is not far away from Kibera. That was his constituency. He's a walking distance, literally. And so if the Kibera people say we had not seen the body because we knew the body was going to come home, and therefore we're going to view the body at home when it lies state there at night. But what are you going to do? Are you going to block them?
You can.
They'll probably come from every single opening that they could find. And if those openings are not there, they will create it and they'll get in there. And if they get in there, who knows? Because the question that you want to ask yourself is how safe is the family now? Then if you expose everybody to come into that home. Now, are you going to cordon that home and have militaries all around it?
No, of course
not. No, maybe. Okay? So this thing must be thought through very quickly. And, you know, one of the few things that we need to agree on is this is the work of intelligence. This is the work of NIS, National Intelligence Services. Okay? They should have been aware and notified the committee, because when you're talking about a state burial or a state function, NIS must be able to have some information and expectation of what will happen on the type of individual. Yeah, the type of individual they're dealing with here, and the mentality and how people view that individual, and the response, the possible response of any causation here. You see that? Now, when you allow that to happen, then the plan should have been done differently. Perhaps his body would have been lifted from the airport to Lee Funeral Home, and within a very short time, the body will be escorted at high speed all the way to Parliament, and then people line up from morning to evening to view the body, because you expect a huge crowd. Now, when you take it to Kasarani, one of the few things you need to be ready with is how many security men are you going to have there? And that we're talking about military, we're talking about police, who are friendly. Again, this is not a place where you want to cajole people. This is not a place where you want to intimidate people. This is not a place where you want to scold people and baton them up and tell them to get out of this place. No, it's not a place to do that. It's a place where people are mourning, and they're mourning in their rightful way. Remember, not everybody in the security is a Luo, and so when the Luos mourn the way they mourn, that is not bad. When they carry the twigs and flyways, and when they carry spears and sometimes chant and shield, spears and shield, they are not there to harm anybody, but they're there to exercise their tradition as a Luo king being sent to his last resting place. And so this is a moment that a great moment of sobriety, and a great moment of proper planning. And I think that was not done properly. Other than, again, what threw every plan into the spin was the fact that the burial was supposed to be done within 72 hours.
So do you predict for it to take longer than the set number of hours?
They have to re-engineer the plan. They have to replan this thing properly well.
So we should be expecting the chair or one of the co-chairs.
That is not possible when they're all in the convoy.
They're in the convoy now. That's also another thing. But we should have been expecting a statement from the deputy president, who's also the chair.
No, it's not possible because they're all engulfed in it. I saw the president is among the deputy president is among
yes,
the
he was right there on the sunroof.
That is actually on the sunroof. So
asking people to please make way.
Yeah. So how do you expect him to have a very reasonable discussion with the committee and make a decision on it? And I believe that is a decision that has been made by some few executives that have sat down and said this is an impossibility here. We have to, I'm seeing them coming through a flyover. I don't know which one that is.
That's still on Mombasa Road. Can you believe that? They're still at Mombasa Road.
Yeah. I wish they would have, it would have been easier instead of taking people all the way to Kasarani because it will take longer. Again, I'm not that individual that makes the decision, but it would have been easier bringing the body. Instead of Parliament, you'll have brought the body right here in Nyayo Stadium.
Nyayo Stadium is nearer.
Yeah.
But then again, I want to believe that our country is prepared, that we have emergency measures, that yes, Kindiki is in the convoy and he's right now incapable of having a committee and discussing and replanning. But I want to believe that we do have emergency protocols. So when things don't go as planned, there is a plan B. I want to believe that that's where we are as a country.
That is the... You know, we're talking about real life situation. You know, the ideal situation. Let me use that word. Yes. We're talking about ideal situation. And then we're talking about the practical part of it.
Vitu kwa ground.
Vitu kwa ground. Vitu kwa ground is when you go out there, sometimes when the citizen says this is how we want it and they're adamant about it, there's nothing you can do about it. Okay? We're not at
Not to provoke them.
You can't provoke them.
That's a big
crowd. Can you imagine
to
this
provoke a
group?
crowd
if
like
you
that.
provoke this group and something happens, it can spiral into something you
So
never imagine.
in a matter of seconds.
Yeah, in a matter of seconds, because the anger that is brewing in them, the bitterness, the sorrow that is spewing out of their hearts, sometimes not in tears, but just lamentation, as I've said there in earlier, is something you cannot just, you know, assume that nothing is happening there. And remember that even those security men, whether it is military, whether it is police, whether it is, National Youth Service, whoever is there, they are also emotionally charged. It's not some of these citizens that you're going to blame for this. We're talking about everybody going through an emotional turmoil. They tell you no, you better do what they want.
They're in command now.
Look at that crowd.
I can see it. And Michael, it's actually getting bigger. Every time I look at you and I look back at the screen, there are more people. I look at you, I look back at the screen, there are more people. Okay, Michael, let's talk about something interesting that happened at the Leaf. Calling Babu Owino. Is Babu Owino the next Raila Odinga?
I am not in a position to say that now. But I can tell you that nature abhors vacuum. And when vacuum is realized, it will be filled by somebody who nature has put in place. Okay? Name and saying so and so and so and so could be in two fronts, either generic or what I would say organic. Generic, there are people that you plant, just like
been paid.
When and when they are planted, they are paid and they're told, when I'm speaking, this is what you have to do. That is absolutely generic, whether they're given or not. In fact, when they go back home, they want to ask yourself whether the response or the demand was generic or it was organic. And if it was organic, Raila Amolo Odinga's shoes cannot be filled. Because Raila was not a leader of the Luo. Raila became the leader of the nation first before he became the leader of the Luo. before he brought those ideologies to the Luo and told them, unite so that we can get become a leader of a community by sizing them up to cheer you as the next leader. You become a leader of the community by the things you do and the ideologies that the community sees as the best for the community. Okay? But that you must have had a better bargain by national leaders first to that extent. Then you say, I have been accepted by the national leaders. Okay? Now I'm coming back home as my people. Would you support me? All right? If you look at the politics of Baba from the beginning, he trod on the footsteps of the giants of yesterday. And when he was done, he started his own parties. He made alliances with the opposition. Okay? And that time, most cases, it was actually to the military and everybody in the international was so poking to the government that they did not want to hear him at all. In other words, he was in his own way a very peculiar individual. Now to that extent, then for you to think that you can fit in Baba's, and that spanned many years before he even became a member of parliament. That spanned many, many years even in exile. That spanned many, many years in jail. To look at his CV, to fit in his shoes, you may never. But the dynamics today are totally different from yesterday's
You can't expect someone to go into detention without trial. That's
oh yeah, but you can expect them to be abducted and to be jailed.
They get abducted every day.
Right,
So that's the new form of
so
detention.
that's a new form of detention, you know. So the dynamics have changed. What we call them, and the point of information that we have today in terms of information being in our fingertips is at a different level, because now people have phones. Anything that happens in Nairobi, you get to know it in your village in Mombasa somewhere, very, very far from the city. Within seconds, I mean, the whole country will know that something has happened. So the dynamics are different. I want to see an individual coming to say, this is what we want to do to get the Luos into the leadership. When you do not run for president, the Luos will vote the way they want. But if they find a Luo running for president or deputy president, it will be closer to leadership. That is what the Luos have been looking for this many, many years.
Is that the reason why they're selecting Babu Owino?
That individual, yeah, if they select Babu Owino, is he going to run for president, or is he going to run for deputy president? Or who is he going to with the likes of Michael Wamalwa, they were with the likes of Martin Chukugu, they were with the likes of many, many other leaders. Even in Meru here, they were with another Kiraitu Murungi and many, many other leaders. So these are not just small people. These were the people that were fighting for the first liberation of this country. And so the question that you want to ask yourself is, what is the liberation that we are fighting for here? They fought for the first liberation and the second liberation, and then we found the new constitution that we are now having, 2010 constitution. And so you must have something, an agenda, an ideology that you're going to cling to, and against the others. And then when you emerge the winner, that is how you start propelling yourself to a national leadership.
Okay, I think I do agree with you that it's not the easiest of things to say somebody will just come in and step into Raila's shoes, because, well, Raila has been through so much. He has done way too much. So by the time you actually step into Raila's footing, you must have done at least 3/4 of the to go, if you ask me. I feel like he's probably on the right. Amolo Odinga was. He probably still has a lot to go on for. At Lee funeral, that's what they were shouting. Babu, Babu. You saw Babu even, he got on a podium and he took
Was
a
that Lee
microphone.
funeral or it was Parliament? I'm not sure, but it must
It was
be.
at Lee funeral because I even spotted, even the speaker had to come. Moses Wetangula was even present there. Shulei was there. They were trying to manage the crowd, and even Babu was trying to manage the crowd. He took a microphone, tried to talk to them, but they failed. They failed. You see the security there at Lee funeral, the way it's actually very tight because people are on top of walls. If there's no security there, they can just easily jump in, yeah? That's outside the parliament, sorry. And you can see if the security is not tight there, they can just easily jump in. And that's when we saw even the speaker came outside to look at the chaos and wonder what actually is going on. It's parliament, yes, you're right, it's parliament.
So it was parliament.
It was parliament, and the speaker came outside to check what exactly is happening. Remember, the body is still at Mombasa. Hopes that we were to start viewing the I have this interesting question. If we're going to view the body today at Kasarani, doesn't that make tomorrow's exercise obsolete?
No.
Yes.
Raila's body cannot be viewed in Nairobi for a day.
No, tomorrow, 2 days.
Yeah.
But today,
I've just answered your question.
They've moved to a stadium. Now it's Kasarani Stadium.
No. But
yes.
People will say, no, we did.
One day is not enough.
Yesterday you told us it was Parliament, so we stayed home. Then you changed it to Kasarani. We were not able to come to Kasarani. You still announced it was going to be in Nyayo Stadium. We will be in Nyayo Stadium. Keep that promise. So yes. To answer your question, perhaps they underrated the number of days that they needed to show up for viewing.
All right.
And then they need to make it very clear that if the body is going to lay the state in his home, then nobody accesses that place other than the dignitaries, the foreign diplomatic corps, or the family.
People will not accept that.
No. We can manage that.
We can?
We can manage that.
Okay.
Yeah. There might be a few hassles here and there, but we need to limit it because then family home, you wanna now let the state use their own machinery so that if the body is going to lay in state at his home, then it is purely dignitaries, because now the members of parliament have been denied an opportunity in parliament, and normally that is the highest honor you could ever get, because then he was a member of parliament, and his colleagues there will be able to view his body instead. But then if it's going to be in his home, then it has to be limited to either member of parliament, dignitaries, the diplomatic corps, family members, and the extended family members, period. No friends, no nothing. So that it is limited to just people who know the family in person, who can say either Pole Sana, but not a million people coming to tell either Pole Sana, because that should be guarded now. That should be protected. And I believe some of those discussions are taking place now. And then when the body is airlifted to Kisumu, it will be a different show. And again, remember that the body will be at Moi International Stadium in Kisumu. And that means they're hoping that everybody will have lined up. I was there in 1990, if I'm not wrong, when Honorable Minister Robert Ouko passed on, or when he was murdered, and the body was brought to Moi International Stadium. And everybody lined up as early as they could. In fact, viewing the body in such a scenario, you don't even take 1 second. Like, you come in there and you...
Strong ODM hold. Let's listen in. Wow. Just wow. I mean, Michael, the one thing I can say is wow. I mean, that is Mombasa. That street there is as you're headed to GPO Posta in town from the roundabout at Markiti. That is Makinon Market.
Yeah, I know
There's that's that street. I think you're familiar, yes?
Yeah.
That's that street. They have taken over the roads, and
you
you
can
know
see
the
they're
roads in
sweating. That
Mombasa
means they've
are
walked for a while.
For a while, the roads in Mombasa are already narrow, and now they've taken Abdul Samad Sharif Nasir. Likoni MP Mishimboko is for ODM. The women rep Zamzam is ODM. Jomvu MP Badi Twalib is ODM. Changamwe MP is ODM. Kisaoni MP Rashid Bezimba right alongside Kisumu. Yeah. And you can see Costarians because it's very rare for you to see
Lakini kwa Raila watajisumbua.
Wamejisumbua. And
Raila Amolo Odinga has spoken their language. Raila Amolo Odinga has chewed with them. Raila Amolo Odinga has defended the land acquisition in Mombasa. That has been the biggest problem. Very strong politicians in that place. Raila Amolo Odinga has dined with some of the best politicians we have in that place. And last but not least, is Raila Amolo Odinga has literally mentored all, and even, I mean, some of these leaders like Mishimboko, Aisha Juma, also, and then you can see how she rose
that's how deep the loyalty goes.
That's how deep, and he's worked with them for many years. We're talking about Governor Joho being one mentored by Raila Amolo Odinga until he served his 2 terms. Nazir, who is now the governor, also just been literally all these other guys, whether you're talking about Mashatani or whoever you are in Mombasa, they've actually grown their political career by being in the opposition.
Yes.
And if you look at the politics in Mombasa, it has never been in bed with government. In other words, they've been with Raila all through since Moi. Because Moi perhaps did not treat them very well. But it's also in Mombasa where somebody went and whipped Raila badly in a public event. Of course, you remember that? They deserve to mourn their hero. Remember, there's also a huge presence of the Luos and Wanabara in Mombasa that might never find a way.
Expatriates from Kisumu. They speak Kiswahili better than me, who's born and raised in Mombasa. They assimilate. It's amazing how they assimilate into the culture. And they take it fully as if, this is my new culture. So to see this in Mombasa, it's surprising, but also not surprising at the same time.
Yeah.
Mombasa is, in fact, the only city in Mombasa that was not taken by an ODM was the one that was taken by Mohamed Ali. Nyali constituency.
And Mohamed Ali was because of the of all this just unnecessary rigging that happens sometimes in ODM, which is very unnecessary. Mohamed Ali will still be in ODM. But because it was bud, you know, and of course, you know, that's the politics of Joe and Muhammad Ali, who did not see each other eye to eye. When Joe wanted his cousin, is it cousin or brother, to run for that position, Saido.
Yes.
So
he pushed for Saido, and Saido was not very popular.
And he was not very popular.
He's still
and so
not popular.
that is how he lost
today.
the whole thing.
But Muhammad Ali would have stood on the forefront of ODM.
Oh yes.
So that forced Muhammad Ali to stand independent.
Those are ODM votes.
And do you know how many independent, how many parliamentarians we have that stood on independent in Kenya? They're very few.
Yeah.
But Muhammad Ali was one of them.
Yeah.
He beat ODM in an ODM zone.
Yeah.
You know.
So he'd served them well. Disagreement, you know, a sense of times, even when we know that they are wrong. If everything was done fairly enough, Muhammad Ali will still come to ODM because he knows very well that if ODM did their nomination well, he will have won because he won, and he will still serve them. And I think the people in the course just say, no, this nonsense have to stop. And it's not just there, it's going to happen all over the country. If ODM continues their mess with the nomination.
I mean, look at that. That is Mombasa County, County 001.
You might see your cousin there.
I might see,
just
or my mother maybe.
Yeah.
but to the case of Chungwa. You remember in 2005, was it 2005, 2006, where we had Ndizi, the referendum, Ndizi and Chungwa. Yes, yeah, I remember that. And that's just symbolic for ODM. Look at that lady there with an orange hijab, full of vigor and enthusiasm, and they're holding their branches.
ODM is the only party that ODM is the only party that got women across the country, whether with hijab or with bikinis, whatever it is. And they went on the street. And they demonstrated their anger.
And at that particular time, they are all one.
Yes, they openly spoke about the injustices that were taking place in this country. Remember that the government never takes you to the street. For what reason? But ODM is the only party that actually engaged people to a place where they say, if you're not happy about something, let's go to the street. And when they went on the street, in fact, all this lesson of Gen Z has emanated from the practices of ODM, because ODM has always gotten its way. Anytime they went on the street, something will happen. And so Gen Z said, if the government doesn't listen to us, we're going to go on the street.
We're going to go on the street. I mean, I think it's...
Sure bet.
Yes. I think where Kenya is actually heading to, if you ask me, I think that's the way to go. Because the era of dictatorship, the era of one-party rulings, the era of where you say something, you're being penalized for just saying it, those are things that are supposed to be in the past. And our very own Gen Z surprised us. Believe it or not, they did surprise us last year.
Are you a Gen Z?
Our very own Gen Z.
Oh, are you saying you own a Gen Z?
No, I mean the country's Gen Zs.
I'm just kidding.
I mean the country's. I could be Gen Z, but I am a proud millennial. But our very own Gen Zs, they surprised us. And a bunch of us millennials were also there. It's just we were all categorized as you know, with the rest of my people from Mombasa.
Yeah.
Celebrating the life of the Right Honorable Raila Amolo Odinga.
I like it. They're not using twigs because that's a good sign. Mombasa doesn't have trees.
Yes.
But at least they're using palm from the coconut oil.
Yes, because that's what we have. We have palm trees. Yeah. And last year, I think we were talking about last year, our very own Jay-Z's, they surprised us. And you know, it started small. But the government refused to listen to that small crowd, and that small crowd grew bigger. And I remember having this conversation with my peers back then, when it started small, and I kept saying, you see, the government is underestimating Gen Zs. Gen Zs may not be liquid, they may not have the money, but they have the numbers. And the numbers matter.
And they proved it.
And they proved it. And you know what else they have? They have the social media. So it's really inexpensive for them to get word out there.
Yeah, they have 10 shillings and they can say anything they want.
It's practically free.
Yeah, you have 10 shillings and you've already read what everybody is saying and you are in
Gen Zs on their own were able to mobilize movements across the whole country.
Yeah.
It wasn't just regionalized. And that surprised us to a point. We made headline news all over the world.
Yeah.
We were Unfortunately, there were goons that were put there to disrupt the... But before all that happened, what the Gen Zs did was failed to do. So Gen Zs have taken over the role.
And they still will.
And they still will.
Oh.
The worst mistake is to underestimate them.
And the worst thing you want to do is to think that Gen Z is no more. Gen Z is still alive and kicking. And they will come back.
They will come back.
They will come back.
So let the state not underestimate them anymore.
Arnold Schwarzenegger used to say, I'll be back in his movies.
Yeah, the Terminator.
The Terminator.
Yes.
I will be back.
I'll be back.
Gen Zs will be back.
Will be back, yes. All right, so this is also live footage. I believe that's still Mombasa. I can't make out where they are because I can't. Oh no, they're still in the streets between still Mombasa. You can see the famous tuk-tuks. And you will still see ladies' bikinis, and you can see that. But in this particular moment, they are considering themselves as one.
I like it because it's peaceful. So that's a really tremendous
respect.
It's very
peaceful. And more so, I like when people come to the streets like this, I like it when I see women. When I see women and I see mothers, and I feel it even more. And
I like it when I don't see security operators around.
Security,
because that scares their ability to express themselves. They can dance, they can cry, they can weep, they can do what they want and just have a nice time.
They're mourning the right way.
The right way.
So by the time you go home, you've had your closure. You've mourned. You've mourned for your Baba.
Baba was loved by women.
Because he kept giving women so many opportunities.
And he gave them hope.
Yes.
Baba gave them women a great opportunity. If you look at 2010 constitution that brought in the women rep was not in our old constitution, and they did not like it at all. That's a position
he brought it.
And he brought the
the third rule.
Third rule,
yes.
Gender, which Parliament has not implemented up to date. But if you look at employment, and I'm in the private sector, but today are heading parastatals. How many women today are in amazing what is happening in this country. And so women have been given a huge opportunity as a result of Raila, affirmative action. And to the women, that nobody else should compete with you in this position, so that they could increase the numbers in Parliament. So he loved women, and women loved him.
So look at the traffic in Mombasa. The traffic is intense. And meanwhile, the convoy is still en route, still at Mombasa Road. It's now 3 hours since the plane landed, 3 hours and some few minutes, still at Mombasa Road. Michael, I don't think they will make it to Kasarani. I don't.
I wish I will have. And here in
Nyayo Stadium.
Nyayo Stadium.
Because Nyayo Stadium is really near. Yeah. Kasarani is quite far. Yeah. And Thika Road. Thika Road is known for pulling mass crowds. Kasarani is through Thika Road, is it not?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
And Thika Road is known.
So
remember,
I don't
even
know.
During the Sabasaba Day, they had to shut down Thika Road.
Yeah, one of the things that they didn't think through very well is that you might have people that have come from the airport. The crowd that wants to go to. They will be getting on Thika Road as well. take decisions, and some of those decisions are not the best. Then about an hour.
Well, let's look at those pictures.
Not even past Nini. Yeah, this is Mombasa.
Landed at the JKIA, and as you can see, the convoy has been moving from JKIA for the past approximately 2.5 hours.
They're walking, and they're not walking fast. You can see.
They're also walking.
No, the crowd is what is ahead of.
And they're not in a hurry, but it is their day. The love and the emotions that they had for the Right Honorable Raila Amolo Odinga. I mean, you cannot pay such a crowd. You cannot buy this.
You can't.
You cannot buy this.
Yeah.
It's Waswahili is quite the crowd, and you can see that
they're making a statement,
and they're still yet to go. If the Right Honorable Raila as the leader that he has always been. We have the committee waiting for him there that is being led, and they're waiting. The bus its way to Kasarani Stadium.
Fatma.
Sorry.
Do you want to take this crowd to live in our home?
Where are they going?
We are going to have a change of mind. I guarantee you.
They're going to go straight to Kasarani?
That has decided that they're going to walk. And then you want to put the body inside.
Where are the
check
people
up
going
and changes.
to? Where are they going to wait? There's no enough space for the people to wait.
Exactly. So can you imagine if
one is to be expected.
Look at how these guys are walking.
Their own leader, the way they seem fit. They have no rush. They are not going.
You know, do not expect a mountain out of an anthill.
Mm-hmm.
The crowd is in turn controlling Raila's convoy. Give it to them. The only voice that could control that crowd is lying motionless.
And now they're doing what is rightfully theirs to do.
Yeah. That's the mentality.
Baba was so much more of the people than people who wanted to.
Took off, everybody will move.
Everybody will move.
But Baba is not able to take off right now.
You can see the food. I am yet, we are yet to receive. We are waiting for our correspondent. There are people on the streets, I'm sure. We're just waiting for our correspondents to send footage from Kisumu. And that's what.
You know this thing that our politicians like. So you find that people are going to a function, some, you know, will hire buses.
Buses.
That when they speak, their cheer crowd that they brought in the buses say, oh, or came from wherever place. No. They imported their supporters with them. Where I don't come from. Or to show Baba that you cannot play around with me because I want to bring you more votes than my other opponents. And you saw how the crowd was so excited about me when I was speaking. That is when Baba was alive. Your supporters from Migori, from Homa Bay, from Kisii, from Mombasa, to go to Bondo on Sunday for the burial, the question you want to ask yourself is, man, are you even going to reach in 3 days? Because if all these other politicians decide to import their own supporters to go and mourn Baba at his home in Opoda, will people reach in 3 or 4 days? Because the traffic you'll see in this road will be impossible even to imagine of. Are you understanding what I'm saying? So I pray that Raila is gone now. You don't have to show your fame by importing your supporters from wherever you come from. Exactly. Just go and mourn. Because the people that will be walking there will be more than you could imagine. Because I cannot even imagine whether you'll find space for people to park their vehicles. Because I saw what happened when Fidel, his son, passed on. And the number of people that came, the passes that brought people to mourn. I saw Honorable Tino Kajwang when he passed on, and the number of people that came, the buses that came across that region was impossible. So what about Honorable Raila Odinga?
Who was much bigger?
That will not only be buried by the president, the sitting president, but the information from the international diplomatic corps saying that some few presidents will come. The chairman of AU might also come, and with his delegation, and a number of his friends, international friends that he had. And then we're talking about all these governors that will come to mourn with the family of Raila. We're talking about all the members of parliament from this country that will want to come and pay his last respect. We're talking about the senators who will want to come. We're talking about all the women rep who will want to come.
MCS.
Then we're talking about the MCS, that some of them literally nominated. They will all come there. And when they come there, even a place to park, you don't know. And we're talking about a plan that people are having walking from Kisumu to Bondo. I don't know what these people have in terms of plan of feeding these guys.
Do you
start thinking about
they could have considered
maybe 400 or 600 heads of cattle to be slaughtered in that place?
Yes.
You need to start thinking about that.
Do you propose that perhaps they could have...
That would have been the plan.
At least from GKA to Lee Funeral.
Yes.
And then from Lee Funeral to Parliament, because it's
guard the place until nobody's able to you can cordon it. Yes. Yeah, because this is less than 2.
KIA.
Yeah.
To Lee Funeral.
To Lee. Tomorrow.
30 minutes past midday.
You'll still be counting.
I mean, no matter how hard the traffic is, this has taken time. This is
yeah, you see, that is
very,
traffic,
very
but this is Raila.
This is Raila is bigger than traffic.
Oh, it's bigger than traffic.
Thank you very much. All right, Michael, we've talked about the nation's grief. We've talked about the history of Raila. We've talked about the legacy. But I believe for